What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. Over the weekend, I took my son out to see the 35th anniversary re-release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. And I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts. Now, I've seen this movie several times, more than several times. I've probably seen it dozens of times. I've watched it a couple times just within the past year. It's a movie that I own, um, and I typically do a rewatch of the Ninja Turtle movies at least once a year. So I've seen it recently, but I haven't seen it on the big screen since it came out in '91. My dad took me to see it. I was 10 years old, and I was in love with the movie. I liked it more than the first one. Now, as an adult, the first one is way superior, but at the time, I liked it more than the first one because it appealed to my 10-year-old sensibilities more than the first one did. It had the childish comedy. It had Tolkien and Razor, which really appealed to me. It had Kino. Kino was someone I could relate to more than I could relate to Casey Jones at that age. This movie appealed to me at that age. I didn't even notice when I was that age that the turtles didn't even use their weapons, that the violence was toned down because I didn't care about any of that. I liked the jokes. I liked the lightheartedness of it. I thought it was cool that Shredder altered his mask to be more menacing. It was just so much of this appealed to that 10-year-old sensibility. You get older, your tastes change, and like I said, now the first one is just infinitely better than part two. The first one is by far the best Turtles movie, period. Um, I still maintain that this is the second best Turtles movie, though. I really do. I'm tempted to say Out of the Shadows might be better, but it's not. This is the better movie. And it's the better movie because even though it was rushed and it was made in less than a year, I feel like there was more heart put into this movie than was put into Out of the Shadows. I feel like there was more respect, more desire to have the turtles connect with the audience than we ever got in Out of the Shadows. This was a movie that, even though it was made quickly and in some ways haphazardly, you could tell that it was made with a love for the turtles. Now, they were clearly trying to be as broad as possible when it came to appealing to a wide audience. They toned down the violence. The turtles didn't cuss in this one. They didn't use their weapons. They did everything they could to appeal to a larger audience. But I also felt like they were doing it with care. That they were stewarding this franchise that was still relatively young at the time. Less than 10 years old at this time. And yeah, I think that it's the second best of the Ninja Turtle movies. The costumes are great. I do think that's one thing that might be a little bit better than the first movie is the costumes, the animatronics in the face. I think that all that might be a little bit better. And you could tell that Jim Henson, even though he wasn't involved in this one, he died just a couple years after the first, or just a couple months after the first movie was made. You could tell that Jim Henson's team was still very much involved in this movie. And then when part 3 rolled around, you could tell that Jim Henson's team wasn't involved at all. It's just other side of it. This movie is, if you had a stamp that said 90s on it, and you went around and just stamped, yep, this is what the 90s was, stamp, Turtles would have one. Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze would have one of those stamps. This is a 90s movie through and through. The comedy was very 90s, the slang, even the end with Vanilla Ice doing his ninja rap, the dancing, the outfits that the people at the club were wearing, all very 90s. And I think that's okay, right? It's okay to have these movies that are kind of frozen in time. Frozen in time kind of can make them timeless in a way, where it's like, okay, you can't remake this movie today because today's not the same time as it was then. It's frozen in time. You could only make this movie then. You can't make it now. I think there's something special about that. When you watch movies that are products of their time and you realize, yeah, you could never make that today. That makes that movie special. And for me, Ninja Turtles 2 is special. It may not have been as good as the first one. It may not have lived up to its promise to give some sort of secret of the Ooze. The script changed a lot in the year that it took to make the movie. It was supposed to end on a cliffhanger. We were supposed to learn that Professor Perry was a neutron and that the Ooze was alien in origin. They changed all that. Made Professor Perry a good guy. But when they changed it, the Ooze kind of has no secret. It's just the Ooze that TGRI made. So this movie will always be special to me. It will be. You know, I saw it in 91 with my dad. And I think about all the ways my life has changed. You know, I was 10 years old then. I'm 45 now. 35 years have passed since then. And, you know, I'm married. I've got 3 wonderful kids. My dad was my movie buddy when I was a kid. And, you know, my dad's in heaven now. Just so much has changed. You know, I think that movies that are frozen in time, like part 2 is, like Ninja Turtles 2 is, they can also, yes, they're nostalgic, but they can also cause us to kind of reflect upon our lives and take stock of the good and the bad that's happened since that timeless piece of art's been made. And since Ninja Turtles 2 has been made, I've started and graduated high school, started and graduated college. I've gotten 3 degrees. I've gotten married. I've had kids. I've traveled to different parts of the world. I'm on my 3rd career. So much has changed in that 35 years that it's so weird to think that the kid who watched that in 1991 is so different now. And yet I watch it with the same eyes. And I have a lot of the same childlike wonder watching it. That's something movies has done for me. The movies have caused me to never lose that childlike wonder. Being a movie fan has allowed me to always have that inner childhood spirit. So, yeah. It was a good movie. It was good revisiting it. Good watching it with my son, who is 17. And he'd seen it before, but he hadn't seen it since he told me last night, or not last night, he told me Saturday when we saw it. He said that last time he watched it, he was probably 7 or 8. So it's been probably about 10 years since he's seen it. So it was fun. Had a great time. Lots of Turtle fans in the house. I'd say the theater was probably about halfway full. A lot of Turtle fans in there, a lot of Ninja Turtle t-shirts. And it was fun seeing it in that group because there was a lot of laughter at some of the jokes. There was a couple moments of cheering, you know, having the Turtle fans all in there and hearing them react, seeing it for the first time again. Really cool. All right, guys. Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, my little retrospective. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.